Hi, this is Beka. Welcome to my first ever YouTube video. Please disregard the umbrella. The lighting was awful. Today's tutorial will be about the swipe bag. This one little baggie over here that barely fits my phone. Money isn't needed in order to dress cute, like a lot of money. I know people are obsessed right now with Mirror Palais, Revolve and other sites that sell clothes for my rent, the value of my rent. I attempted to make this bag two ways. The more professional way, which I thought would be better looking, ended up failing. The first part of the footage is of the failed attempt, as the starting point for both ways is the same. But I had to keep the shitty footage because I didn't film the second one. For most of my sewings I use kids color markers because these ones are not only washable, you can just drip water onto the line and it vanishes. I don't know. It's amazing. Let's get to the tutorial. Trace a round object onto the cardboard, extending the circle that you just traced into an egg shape, if it makes sense. And then simply draw an oval, which will be the handle hole. Now, taking the pattern, trace it onto your fabric of choice 4 times. You will need 2 pieces for the shell and 2 for the lining. The lining pieces should be around 3 mm smaller than these shell pieces, like so. Next, for the side of the bag, this one, measure the egg circumference all around and divide it by 2. Mark the middle onto your denim. Disregard the footage of me struggling to use my brother's denim shorts. From the middle, mark the entire length of the circumference, half on the right and half on the left of your marked point. As for the width of the side piece, I decided mine was going to be 5 cm in total at the widest point at the bottom and 1 cm at the top at the handle. So at the midpoint, where the bottom should be, I marked 2.5 cm on both parts, like the other left and right. And at the top handle part, I marked 1.5 cm, which is 7 mm on each side. As you can see me in the footage, I was also marking the inside of the handle part, this thing. And that was overkill. I ended up eyeballing it in the end, and let's move on. Here I am showing why my first attempt failed. That's why I told you in the beginning to make the shell larger than the lining. I turned it inside out. It wasn't really keeping its shape. It was too bulky. I was seam ripping. I'd accidentally ripped the shell and had to redo the project. Now back to the tooth. For the side of the bag, to keep its shape, we're going to use 4 zip ties. I used 2 longer ones and 2 smaller ones in the middle, the bottom of the bag. So here what I'm showing is just grab another strip of fabric and use your zip ties as guides for how wide the tunnels should be. Sew all the lines you've marked to create the tunnels for the zip ties. To insert the smaller zip ties in the middle, I just simply poked a hole in the top fabric and inserted them. Afterwards, I simply checked if the longer zip ties fit in the tunnels and then removed them. After attaching the shell piece to the side strip with the straight stitch, you're going to clip all around in order to accommodate for the curves. Now repeat for the second side. Now poke a hole into the handle marking and cut all around, leaving seam allowance. Like so. Further, we're going to give the top handle some more structure by inserting some zip ties. We're going to take the seam allowance and fold it onto the side strip and sew it down, creating zip ties tunnels on both sides. The handle zip ties were long enough to go into the channels.
Several song-filled hours later.
Off camera, I had used shoe glue as that's what I had in hand. Please use textile glue as it's less toxic. And now I'm demonstrating how to glue the lining piece onto the inside of the shell. First, insert a rag inside the hollow of the bag to make it maintain its shape. I know it looks funny, but trust me, it smells even worse. Please use textile glue. I'd clip the seam allowance and let it cure again. Fast forward to the next day, let's enjoy a nice little footage of me struggling to turn the bag inside out to assess the next step. It's ×5 speed, the struggle. Afterwards I was blabbering about how the hollow part should use some zip ties in order to maintain a better structure as well. Next, we're drafting the inside of the handle. I cut a strip approximately 3 times the width of the handle, and the length was the whole circumference minus the zip length plus 2 centimeters for seam allowance. Then I literally eyeballed it by placing the strip atop the handle and clipping it as I go. Folding the seam allowance underneath itself and securing it with a straight stitch on both sides approximately ½ centimeter in from the edge created 2 boning channels for my zip ties to go in. Here I was blabbering again how you should protect your fingerprints and trim the zip ties ends with probably scissors. My zip ties happen to be exact 2 centimeters shorter than the strip that were left as seam allowance. Yay! Next, let's manually sew the strip to cover the handle gap. Please ignore my big head and the threads on my shoulder. I was trying my best to demonstrate how I was attaching the strip inside the hollow. All done, yay, let's clip the threads. All of the threads. You see me trying my best to explain what the next step should be, but the audio was terrible, so here I am. I was planning on sewing 2 strips of fabrics on either side of the zipper for, that's right, you guessed it, more zip ties channels. Some more sewing featuring my big head taking up most of the screen. Sorry guys. Little did I know that my efforts to actually sew in frame and keep it upright for you guys to see would be futile. And I had also ended up sewing the zipper crooked, so I tried. And ta-da! We're finally finished. I truly hope that my explanation wasn't more confusing, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. Yeah, I will see you next time.